How's it going, everyone? It's Javi from Weather SpongeBob 1000. Today is January 28, 2022, and we're going to talk about this historic blizzard that could dump record-breaking snow in the Northeast within the next 24 hours, as well as hurricane-force wind gusts in some areas and an extreme coastal flooding threat, which could bring major coastal flooding in some areas of the Northeast and impact millions of Americans, including the big cities such as Philadelphia, New York City, and Boston. But before I begin, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather-related content. Make sure to like if you like this video, make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather-related content. So let's begin by taking a look at the current radar right now, and now we're beginning to see the storm develop here right around the mid-Atlantic. Of course, there isn't really a very powerful storm, as you can see right now on the radar. You see that the snow showers are pretty much very scattered and very light throughout the mid-Atlantic, extending from Connecticut all the way down, I'd say, to Virginia and West Virginia, and as far west as Indiana. But these snow showers, like I said, are pretty much light. There isn't much rain showers associated with this storm just yet. However, that's quickly about to change, because as this sort of clipper system, or the remnants of this clipper system that was moving through, kind of moves further southeastward, we're gonna eventually see the strong northwesterly flow interact with the warmer air mass that's located right over the Gulf Stream in the just off the coast of the mid-Atlantic, and that's where the air pressure should become very buoyant within the next few hours for a lot more convection to occur just off the North Carolina and Virginia coast, and eventually that convection will lead to a large area of precipitation and higher rates of precipitation along the east coast and further northward, where we of course could see record-breaking snowfall, and we're gonna see this low pressure system develop at a very rapid pace. We're gonna see it undergo bombogenesis, which pretty much means that it's gonna drop right around 24 millibars in 24 hours, and it might even exceed that threshold by quite a bit. So this storm is gonna rapidly intensify, guys, and it could intensify to a strength that's equivalent to many hurricanes that you'd find in the Atlantic. So this is going to be a very powerful storm, but as of right now, snow showers are light, but that's going to quickly change head into tonight once, of course, this clipper system moves closer along the to the Gulf Stream for a more buoyant air mass to occur, and for a more buoyant area to pretty much bring about a more buoyant area, and we'll see a low pressure develop just off the mid-Atlantic coast that will develop quite rapidly. So if we were to take a look at the future radar, or at least let's first look at the warnings first. And now, like I said yesterday, I wouldn't have been surprised if we had winter storm watches get upgraded into winter storm warnings, and that's exactly what happened today. In the reds, it might be difficult to see, but right around southeastern Massachusetts, portions of Rhode Island, and the southeastern portion of Maine, you guys are under blizzard warnings, and this doesn't even include the areas in New England. This also includes New Jersey, where the Jersey Shore is under blizzard warnings, and this extends to the Delmarva Peninsula as well. And we have winter storm warnings just outside of the blizzard warnings, as it does seem like, of course, as you head further inland, the winds will decrease, so it won't be considered a blizzard. But for areas further eastward, especially along the coast where the winds will be stronger, that's where you have blizzard warnings issued, and that's definitely something you want to take very seriously, because blizzards are something you do not want to underestimate at all, as blizzards pretty much bring whiteout conditions and just make it impossible to drive out or be outside during a blizzard. So you need to stay indoors over the next 24 hours if you're on a blizzard warning. And even a winter storm warning, that's where you could receive heavy snowfall here along the Northeast. Now, let me show you the Futurecast radar, because it gives a good idea of how exactly the storm will develop. Of course, we do have that small clipper system dumping pretty much light snow throughout the mid-Atlantic at this point. However, if we were to continue to move forward, you see that as this clipper system moves further eastward, that's when the cold air will interact with the warm air a little bit more right around the mid-Atlantic, and that's where we will see thunderstorms develop just off the North Carolina coast. And heading more forward, you see the area of rain showers vastly increases, and we, as this clipper system moves further westward, eastward, along with the cold air, and then by 10 p.m. we now begin to see the first formations of a mid-latitude cyclone, where we're going to see snow on the northwestern portion of this storm and all thunderstorm activity on the east, on southeastern portion, and a little bit of dry air towards the southwestern portion of this low pressure system. And if we were to move forward, you see that now the snow is completely swallowing up the Delmar Peninsula with heavy snow at this point, as this low pressure system rapidly developed off the mid-Atlantic coast to a point where now it's bringing heavy snow to the Delmar Peninsula, southeastern New Jersey, Long Island, and southern New England is now getting involved right around 1 a.m. So I'd say the worst for the Delmar Peninsula, New Jersey, and New York. I think the worst should be very early Saturday morning during the overnight hours, where the snow will be very heavy and you could experience blizzard conditions along the coast in New Jersey and Delmarva Peninsula. So you need to make sure of that. And this will continue till 7 a.m. And you see that the snow begins to approach Boston, I'd say between 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. And it should be just a very long duration event for Boston. And that's where you should experience the heaviest snowfall in this storm, the heaviest snow bands associated with this storm, since by the time this low pressure system reaches Boston, not only is the low pressure going to be very close in proximity to the area of Boston, it's also going to be more powerful than when it's going to be right around 4 a.m. on Saturday. So that's why Boston and southeastern portions of Massachusetts should receive the most snowfall. And you see that the heaviest snow, I'd say, should happen right around noontime on Saturday, right around the Boston area and southeastern Massachusetts. And I'd say this should pretty much last all day for Boston until Saturday night, where the snow will eventually move northward more into Maine. And then this should be completely gone by Sunday morning. So that's suddenly something you want to keep in mind when it comes to timing. This should start, heaviest snow I'd say should start right around Friday night for New York City, Philadelphia, the Delmar Peninsula, and continue on till I'd say Saturday at noontime. However, for Boston, I'd say the snow will start right around the overnight hours on Saturday and continue all day till Saturday night. So you need to pay very close attention to that when it comes to timing in Boston, as you do not want to go out at all during tomorrow for throughout Boston and even New York City, where the snow should be heavy for you guys. Now let's take a look at the computer models. So it seems like over the past 24 hours now, the computer models have a good and very confident idea of what's going to happen when it comes to snowfall accumulation. So if I were to show you guys the GFS models forecast when it comes to snowfall accumulation, let me show the European model first actually. So this is as of the latest 12Z run. So if we were to continue to move forward, let's move to the 30-hour mark. You're going to see that the European model is still taking a large area of over 6 inches of snow extending from southwestern New Jersey. New York City is getting involved in this, and Boston right around 30-hour mark already has over a foot of snow. If we were to continue to move forward as of the 36-hour mark, you're going to see that there's Boston could receive even more snowfall. You see that now Boston is probably under 15 inches of snow by the 36-hour mark, continuing even more forward by the 42-hour mark. This is taking a little bit long to load. I apologize, but you see that now New York City is pretty much receiving, I'd say, right around 8 inches of snow. Let's move to the 54-hour mark to see the total snowfall accumulation. It's pretty confident that we're gonna see easily over a foot of snow right around Boston. And in fact, a little bit more than that, where you could maybe receive close to 20 inches of snow in Boston. And in New York City, you're receiving, I'd say, right around 8 inches of snow. And Philadelphia is getting involved with 6 inches of snow. Hartford, Connecticut's getting involved with around 8 to 10 inches of snow. So that's something you want to pay close attention to. And if we were to take a look at the GFS models forecast, they're pretty much in good agreement at this point, which is definitely good news. It gives more confidence with the forecast. And you see that in this case, the GFS model is forecasting right around 20 inches of snow for Boston, but I do believe in Boston and southeastern Massachusetts it will be a little bit more than what's currently forecasted, because it seems like the National Weather Service is forecasting more snow despite what the GFS model and the European model are saying. As it seems like when it comes to snowstorms this big, it seems like the computer models tend to underestimate the amount of snowfall when it comes to powerful storms like this. So in Boston, you could still receive over 2 feet of snow, and New York City right around 6 to 12 should be the forecast, as there is high confidence when it comes to the trajectory and where the heaviest snow will fall with the computer models. So make sure to prepare all throughout the Northeast for just very heavy snowfall. But that won't be the only threat with this low pressure system. It will also be the wind. So you see that right around 4 a.m. on Saturday, we're beginning to see strong winds off the Jersey coast. We're seeing strong winds throughout Long Island, and we're starting to begin to see strong winds right around Boston and the Nantucket area. And the yellows represent pretty much 30-mile-per-hour winds sustained, so that's what you should expect if you're under the yellows. The greens are right around 20 to 30 mile per hour sustained winds, so make sure to prepare for that as well. If we were to move to 10 a.m. time frame, you see that the winds vastly increase as the storm rapidly intensifies as it moves northward. And then 1 p.m. you see that we're now beginning to see the reds over the Cape Cod area, which represents over 50 mile per hour sustained winds. So you could easily receive hurricane force wind associated with this storm, and that will lead to coastal flooding, major coastal flooding at that. So make sure to prepare right along the southeast coast because of New England, because I think this snowstorm could be one for the record books, as you could receive historic snowfall from this storm. Now let's take a look at my snowfall forecast over the next 24 hours as the storm will move further northward. So if we were to take a look, I'm forecasting over 24 inches of snow right around the Boston area. So this would be in the record books for Boston if you were to receive that much snow, because the highest snow total you've ever received by one snowstorm in Boston was 27 inches of snow. The forecast is 24 to 36 inches, as you could see. So it's very well possible you could receive the biggest, most powerful snowstorm to ever impact Boston in recorded history. So you definitely don't want to underestimate this in this area. Just outside of that, you should expect right around 12 to 24 inches, which is still very significant. Over a foot of snow. New York City is right on the border of 12 to 24 to 6 to 12 inches. So there's very well a possibility in New York City you could receive a foot of snow. And then Philadelphia, northwestern New Jersey, and the southern Hudson River Valley of upstate New York, and extending further northward, I'm expecting right around 6 to 12 inches, which again, that's still very significant. Winter storm warnings are issued for areas where you're expected to receive over 6 inches, so that's still a very significant snowstorm. And then it should be pretty much light outside of it, but still don't disregard 3 to 6 inches either, because that still could cause havoc on the roadways. But of course, the biggest concern will be southeastern Boston, where, like I said, you could receive near hurricane force wind gusts right around the Boston area, and just blizzard conditions over 2 feet of snow is possible. So make sure to stay safe in those areas, as this is going to be a very significant storm for the record books. But I thank you guys for watching, and make sure to stay safe with this snowstorm, because it's going to be just very, very impactful and huge. But I thank you guys for watching.